There are rules you're taught, and then there are rules Machiavelli would never say out loud. These are the ones that separate the strong from the weak, control from exposure. Most people think power is something you show off, but Machiavelli knew the truth. Real power comes from what you don't show, especially when you're in public. Why? Because in public, you're being watched, not just by people, but by opportunities, by your reputation, and by those waiting for you to mess up. You don't get ahead by being flashy in public. You get ahead by being flawless. There are 9 subtle human behaviors that will quietly destroy your presence, your mystery, and your control if you let them show. 1. Never complain in public. You might think complaining makes you seem relatable, but to powerful people, it does the opposite. Machiavelli understood this. When you complain in public, you show 2 big weaknesses. You're not in control, and you want sympathy. Both are toxic. Power attracts those who can handle pain without showing it. The moment you share your frustrations publicly, you create a new image for yourself, not a threat, not a mystery, but someone who needs something. The world will start treating you that way. Stay quiet. Deal with your struggles privately. Let people wonder how you never seem bothered. 2. Never reveal your insecurity, maybe in private. With someone you truly trust, you can show insecurity, but never in public. Because what people hear you admit, they start to believe, even if it's not true. Say, "I'm not good at this" enough times, and soon no one will trust you with it. Say, "I struggle with confidence," and people will permanently expect less from you. Machiavelli knew that what seems true becomes true. And nothing ruins your authority faster than willingly showing weakness. So, even when you're unsure, hold your composure. Let your inner doubts be hidden behind confident body language. That's what makes people nervous, not what you say, but what you refuse to show. Point 3. Never brag about your plans. You have seen them. People in public, loudly talking about their next big idea. Machiavelli would smile at them, then use their ambition against them. Because when you talk about your plans in public, 2 things happen. People feel no rush to help you. You're already doing great, right? Others now have a roadmap to stop you. Before you even begin, announce nothing. Let your success surprise everyone. Work quietly until your results are so clear they can't be denied. And when people ask how you did it, shrug, smile, and say nothing specific. Power grows best when no one sees it coming. Point 4. Never take sides in small conflicts. You might think standing up for someone in private makes you loyal, and it does. But in public, it makes you predictable. Machiavelli warned leaders, never get involved in other people's fights unless you stand to gain from the outcome. When you jump into an argument, you gain an enemy you didn't need. Form alliances based on feelings, not smart choices. And most dangerously, you show what you care about before you have the power to make it count. Let others expose themselves. Let them fight. You watch. You remember. You get yourself into the best position. Staying neutral in public isn't being a coward. It's protecting your power for the future. 5. Never show a hunger for attention. There's no worse smell in public than desperation. Whether it's forced laughter, seeking praise, or looking for approval, once people sense you need it. You, Machiavelli, believe that the more you need others, the less they value you, especially when that need is emotional. When you walk into a room and try hard to be liked, you become easily replaced. But when you enter with calmness, control, and a bit of disinterest, you create a presence they can't quite understand. And what they can't understand, they can't easily dismiss. Want influence? Want power? Then be the one who doesn't need the room. Let them come to you. 6. Never break under pressure, even a little public moments of stress. Arguments, disagreements, accusations, these are tests. And most people fail not by exploding, but by leaking. Their voice gets tight, their face flinches, their posture weakens. The audience picks up on this instantly, even without realizing it. Then in that moment, your strong image cracks. Machiavelli would never show pressure. He'd absorb it like armor stops arrows. Even when you're fuming inside, stay perfectly still. On the outside, not like a robot, but controlled. Because once people see that nothing rattles you, you become a psychological landmark, a person they have to adjust themselves around. Point 7. Never publicly over-explain yourself. This is the mistake. Of those who feel they must justify every move, you say something that gets a reaction. You panic. You start rambling, clarifying, softening, defending. And in that moment, you lose control of the situation. Now the crowd controls your story. You're reacting to them. You're explaining your existence on their terms. Machiavelli never explained. He redirected. Instead of softening, he'd make people question their own reaction. If they demanded an explanation, he'd reply, "Perhaps you misunderstood me," or "Perhaps you understood me perfectly." Either way, he remained in control of what his words meant. So, the next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, don't. Let your silence make them wonder. 8. Never reveal bitterness. Toward rejections, someone ignores you, leaves you out, chooses someone else. You feel that quick sting of pain, and maybe you want to show it. But public bitterness is self-sabotage because it screams, "I noticed. I care. And now I'm weakened by it." Machiavelli would call that emotional suicide. When you're overlooked, you're dismissed or cut out, respond with detachment, not passive aggression, not fake laughter, just stillness. Make it seem like they just freed you, like your attention is valuable. And they just took themselves out of the running. They probably expected you to chase. When you don't, they'll start chasing themselves. 9. Never publicly criticize someone more powerful, not because they don't deserve it, but because you don't benefit. Calling out someone above you only makes two things happen. People see you as jealous. Even if you're right, the powerful person now sees you as a threat they need to get rid of. Machiavelli would find their weakness. Yes, but he would never attack first in public. He'd wait. Wait until their guard was down. Wait until it made more sense to build them up, just before letting them fall. If you must criticize, do it carefully, strategically, and ideally through someone else. Because power isn't about saying what's true. It's about deciding when the truth is useful. Building your presence. Beyond avoiding weakness, power isn't just kept by what you avoid. It's built quietly through what you project precisely. When you get rid of the weak behaviors Machiavelli would hate, you create an empty space. And the world doesn't tolerate an empty space. People around you will project meaning onto you, whether you plan it or not. So now the game shifts from just avoiding ruin to carefully creating dominance. Not with aggression, not with ego, but with calmness, good positioning, and choosing what to reveal. You've learned what to remove. Now learn what to put in its place. Replace complaints with unreadable endurance. When people complain, they show need. When you endure in silence, you create mystery. Your silence in tough times becomes intimidating. Why? Because people fear what they can't measure. If you're under pressure and still calm, they wonder, how bad is it really? Why isn't he breaking? What's he planning? You don't need to smile or pretend, just show emotional indifference, the kind that makes others question their own strength. Your pain is your weapon, but only if no one clearly sees it. Replace insecurity. With strategic uncertainty, insecurity is a signal. Uncertainty is a mirror. Insecure people explain too much, share too much, and look for approval. But Machiavellian uncertainty is different. It intentionally leaves people unsure. You don't say, "I don't know what I'm doing." You say, "I have something in mind," and say nothing else. You don't admit confusion. You ask questions that shift the focus. You're not pretending to know everything. You're making them unsure what you know. Because once people believe you're playing a long game, they start overthinking everything about you. And when they're distracted by your uncertainty, you have the upper hand. Replace boasting with subtle power signals. Announcing power weakens it. Revealing it by accident. That's how you control the narrative. Powerful people don't list their achievements. They let them be noticed gradually. You're not a leader because you say you are. You are because people keep looking to you during uncertain times, You don't tell people you're building something. They notice your time is protected. You don't say you've won. They see your silence while others celebrate. That's power, not in showing off, but in holding back. When you master this, even your silence becomes a sign of movement. Replace public loyalty gestures with quiet support. When everyone's fighting and shouting their side, you stay silent. Not because you don't care, but because you value influence. More than approval, strongest loyalty is the kind no one sees. Machiavelli always formed alliances behind closed doors. You can support someone, be loyal, but doing it in public is like theater, and it usually costs more than it's worth. If you protect someone in secret, they'll trust you more. If you act neutral in public, you stay untouchable. That's the move. Support privately. Rule publicly by showing nothing. Replace attention-seeking with controlled withdrawal. The loudest person in the room is usually the weakest. So instead of making noise, when you enter with timed absence.